Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AT&T Park. My name is John Miller, and this is...
Dave Fleming.
Yeah! All right. Your Giants broadcasters. The Giants, I think as most of you are well aware, are one of the most historic and storied franchises in Major League Baseball history. Now, the Giants go back into the 19th century. This is the 136th year of Giants baseball. They are still sort of a newcomer to San Francisco. They've only been here since 1958, which was 60 years ago. So the Giants have transferred that history out here to San Francisco. And the gentleman that we're honoring today helped the Giants make some of the greatest history in the long franchise storied tradition. So we're really excited about this ceremony for sure. The Giants had done so many things since they got out here, and they had so many fans, but they had never won a World Series until 2010. And then they did it again in 2012. And for good measure, they did it again in 2014, the third time in 5 years.
Okay, so that's the prelude, that's the setup. Why are we here? We are here to honor 3 of the Giants who helped bring those 3 World Series championships. Why don't we at least introduce them so that you all can say hi to our 3 Wall of Famers. Matt Cain, Brian Wilson, and Ryan Vogelsong. What a class. What is the Giants Wall of Fame? Well, the bronze plaques that you see all along the wall here celebrate and pay tribute to the greatest players in San Francisco Giants history. Our Wall of Fame recognizes those who have distinguished themselves on the basis of longevity and also achievement. Honorees, to get in the Giants Wall of Fame, you must have played for the Giants for a minimum of 9 seasons or 5 seasons plus at least 1 All-Star appearance in a Giants uniform. That's how you get here. Matt, Brian, and Ryan are going to join 49 other forever Giants who are already in this elite club.
Waiting on Wilson. And the right-hander for the Giants throws. Swing and a miss! And that's it! The Giants! For the first time in 52 years, the Giants are world champions. This party is just getting started.
I remember, I have some great personal memories, especially Brian Wilson. 56 years, for the first time in 56 years, a Giant is on the mound, having won the World Series, throwing the last pitch to clinch a World Series victory in 2010. Brian came up to me, handed me the ball, and said, "This ball belongs to the fans of San Francisco. Please take good care of it and display it in this ballpark."
Willie, I can't thank you enough for what you did. 48 saves, 4 saves against the Phillies, and 2 of probably my top 3 moments in baseball, and that was the game you closed against Philly. It was Willie being Willie, though. It was game 6, and we're trying to get to the World Series, 9th inning, of course. You know, he had to walk a couple guys put on there before he struck out Ryan Howard with that backdoor cutter. But, of course, the big one was 2010, our first World Series, when he threw the front door cutter on Nelson Cruz, struck him out, and we all went numb. And
My first time seeing Brian Wilson, well, it was interesting because I really didn't know what I was meeting, really, you know. So we had different personalities every other week, and then the beard started growing, and then I was I actually feared the beard because I actually more feared what was in it than anything else. But you know, what this guy did was amazing. And I played with several closers in my career, and he was the most competitive closer I've ever seen. He was stubborn. He would not give up the lead. He really wouldn't. It didn't matter the situation. It didn't matter the intensity of it. He felt the pressure. He'd tell you he felt the pressure, but you didn't see it when he was out there. And yeah, I remember one game, he threw 50 pitches. 50. Didn't give up a run. That's almost impossible to do. But that's the kind of closer he was, you know? And I was warming up after him. I was tired. But that's how he was stubborn. He was a guy that when he put him out there, he was gonna figure out a way to end it.
One that came to mind with Wilson was probably my first spring training, and we were in Scottsdale. I can't remember. We weren't at home, but I was catching him, and obviously I'd seen him pitch, and I'm like, all right, this, you know, I got to be ready right here, and go out to the mound. I'm like, hey, what do I call him, Wheeze or Brian, or what am I supposed to call him right now? Like, what signs do we want to use here with they're on second? He's, nobody's getting on second. Okay. First batter, double. So now do I go out and ask him, or do I put one sign down? I think I went out and asked him. He's like, first sign. But Brian was, as Afelt mentioned, just, there couldn't have been a better closer for me to start my career with, just because in those pressure moments, I didn't feel the pressure because I knew he was so prepared, and I knew, as Jeremy mentioned too, he wasn't gonna give in. He knew hitter swings, and he knew how to execute. And you know, congrats to this day, and a lot of great memories.
I feel like I'm gonna throw up right now. I'm so nervous. So bear with me. Hey guys. Hey Crawford, you jealous of the hair? It's beautiful hair. Boach, you were an amazing manager. Appreciate you letting me throw the ninth a couple of times. I know there was a couple of games where I gave you a panic attack, but you really gave me the confidence to become a great closer because, hey, you coached some of the best. Coached Hoffman. And I grew up wanting to be, you know, a great baseball. I wanted to be a starter, but, you know, I couldn't do that like Cainer, so I became a reliever. But Boach always had my back. I know on his face, he'd be just doing this, like, Willie, come on, you're walking everybody. But it made me want to work hard. So thank you, Boach, for being an absolute legend in your own right. You're going to be in the Hall of Fame one day, no doubt. And you're going to have your own day. To all the current players that I've played with, Dick Tidrow, I see you. I remember you. The guy's classic. I could talk for an hour about him. I just wanted to thank the entire city of San Francisco. This is a city that not only is really awesome to play in, but the fans are so intense, but intelligent and passionate. And this San Francisco Giants is synonymous with team, and this is what we are. We're a family, we're family, friends and family. We're all together as one, and that 2010 season, bringing home for the first time in 56 years or so, that was magical. So thank you, fans, for being there every step of the way. We got many more championships to win, that's for sure. But I'll just leave you with, guys, from the bottom of my heart, it feels so good to be back home, back being honored by the Giants, and I love every single one of you all around the city. Thank you so much for coming out, and good luck tonight's game. Thank you.
One ball and two strikes. On the ground, Arias from deep third, got him! And that's a perfect game. And the Giants mobbing Matt Cain on the pitcher's mound.
My first ever shot of Matt Cain when I played against him, I watched him drill Matt Holliday, and I was on the Rockies. I just showed up. I didn't know there was a beanball war going on. And Matt just drilled Holliday, and I was like, oh man, this could be good, you know? So Holliday's yelling, everybody's yelling, and I'm like, what did I just get traded into here? And then the very next at bat, Holiday hit one like 700 feet. I mean, it went so far in Colorado, it went like off the scoreboard. And Holiday is running around yelling at Cain, and Rags comes running out yelling at Holiday, and I'm like, this is awesome, you know? Like, it was great, you know? So I've seen him give up one of the longest home runs in the history of the game. I can tell you that. It was impressive. But I also can tell you, I watched him throw the most dominant perfect game in baseball history. And that's such a fun thing to watch. It is. It really is a fun thing to see. And to see how competitive he was and how focused he was. I mean, that game just is a perfect picture of who he was when he competed.
Matt Cain, I'll remember all kinds of memories, but one that comes to mind, of course, is a warm night in June 2012. On the eve of the US Open, where Matt had actually taken a golf swing at home plate before going out to start a game. And it's the 5th inning, it's the 6th inning, it's the 7th inning. I texted Pam, I said, you gotta get down, you gotta get here. And I can't jinx and say what's going on, but you gotta get here. And she's like, don't bother me, I'm at Target getting camp clothes for the kids. She came down in the 9th inning, and the first and only perfect game in Giants history. Matt Cain.
Yeah, Matt was the horse, and the guy that we left out there, he threw, what, 200 innings in 6 consecutive years, and just an amazing career, and I'm just so happy to be part of it. Now, Larry had touched on his perfect game, and as much as we all enjoyed that perfect game, to me, it had a bit more meaning to us in 2012. I really thought that game brought us together and helped get us to the World Series. It was 25 guys that just pulled together and came as a group and found a way, to win that World Series.
I mean, there are so many moments with Matt, but what are there, 20 catchers in history who've caught a perfect game? I mean, I do think that night is one we're never, ever going to forget, aside from all the playoff moments. What do you remember about Matt's perfect game night?
Yeah, I mean, I can watch it now, and I get chills watching it now, and I've watched a lot of highlights. I remember seeing Chelsea in the stands and looking at her on the replay, and it was making me nervous watching her and how anxious she was. And man, what great memories, and I'm so thankful to have been a part of that. And not just that, just all the games, the good ones and the bad ones. You know, I think that Kaner and I we got obviously developed a relationship and with Rags and going over hitters before games, and Cain got to trust me enough to where he would say, all right, I'm gonna throw what Buster puts down, and then if it doesn't work out after the game, I just blame him. So I feel fortunate that he got comfortable enough with me to do that.
Really thinking back to 2002 with Lee Elder finding me in Memphis, Tennessee, at a school that really hadn't been recognized yet out of high school, and having the organization really find people, and they just did an unbelievable job of really making you feel at home. I remember the very first time I met Lee, he was the scout that drafted me, and he just had that personality, and he had that aura around him that this was the team that you wanted to play for if you have the opportunity to play for, and it's for the San Francisco Giants. And that never left me from the day I met him to the very last day that I stepped off the field, is knowing that this is the only organization that I'll ever play with, and to have that opportunity. Sorry, I try to break you down a little bit. These guys are being funny. But to know that all these familiar faces I've got to be around for so many years, to have guys come out, the teammates that I've played with, the training staff, the coaches, have everybody kind of come out, and to be a part of this, it means a lot. It means a lot to know to the guys. It means a lot. It means a lot to me, and I can't thank the city. I can't thank you guys enough. I can't thank the organization. Thank you for all of the special memories that we've had, and thank you.
Giants fans are getting ready for this one, Game 6 of the National League Championship Series.
Swing and a miss. He got him.
Victim number 9. And that is a career high in strikeouts for Vogelsong.
And the fans here at AT&T Park are acknowledging the great work tonight of Ryan Vogelsong.
Hopefully everybody here knows the journey that Ryan took to get back here, going to Pittsburgh, going to Japan, hanging in there. Did you guys in that clubhouse know that story, know that about him, appreciate that about him the way that I sort of did, just the perseverance to get to where he wanted to be?
I don't know if we knew it to that detail, but you know, it didn't take long to be around Bogey to understand that he's the gold standard for how you prepare for a baseball game. And I think he would probably tell you too, through his, you know, trials and tribulations, that he figured out exactly what it took for him to be ready each day. And it was really cool to kind of sit back and watch and just appreciate somebody that perfected their craft to the extent that he had, and he squeezed every bit out of what, you know, he was blessed with.
The coolest thing was watching Ryan Vogelsong come back and look at some teammates, former teammates, but a lot of people in the organization wearing that 2010 ring, and he wasn't a happy guy. And he was determined to get one somehow, some way. And every day, and I'm telling you, we'd play a night game, folks, and the game's over and you guys are leaving the stadium, he'd want to go throw a bullpen. So I said, you know, this guy's determined, we're going to have to, you know, let him get it out and so he can sleep tonight. And that's the kind of guy he was. He was determined, and after that 10 season, there was a lot of celebrating going on. Well, Brian kept us straight because he wanted one so bad. He made sure that, you know, he was there. He wasn't going to bask in the glory of the past. He wanted one himself. So he was much needed adrenaline boost from that point on, from the time he showed up.
You know, I mean, just a great story of a guy that was just set on getting back to the big leagues, a story of determination, resilience, intestinal fortitude with, you know, going to Japan and finding a way to get back. And didn't make her club out of spring training, but ends up joining us. And what an unbelievable year he had that year. In fact, in 2011, he made the All-Star team. Nothing was a prouder moment for me to choose him to be on that team. And then, of course, what he did in the 2012 postseason. This guy won 3 games, had the ERA around 1, and
I've been thinking about this day for a while and what I was going to say, and everything I was going to say kind of doesn't really mean much anymore. Hearing these guys talk and tell stories and say what they think about you, it's kind of put me speechless, which I'm sure most of these guys saw once every 5th day, but didn't happen a whole lot the other days. But these 2 guys right here were, not because they're just sitting here, 2 of my favorites all time. And I played with a lot of guys, and I love every one of y'all sitting over here right now. Thank you guys for being here. But these 2 right here were 2 of my favorites. So Matt and I had tons of conversations about pitching, and at that point in time, Matt was the closest guy to me in the rotation as far as the way we pitched and the stuff that we used. So we really fed off of each other a lot and helped each other with scouting reports. And, you know, I talked more to him when he was pitching in a game than he would talk to me. But Matt, thanks for being a great teammate, buddy. I couldn't have done it without you. And thanks for everything. And Brian Wilson, you know, everybody has their great Brian Wilson stories. And mine isn't crazy. It's just that I love Brian because Brian knew how to motivate me. And I don't know if it was on purpose or if he was just being silly, but Brian had this knack of saying things to me that would make me go, yes, I can do that. So one quick story about Brian is 2012 spring training. Brian's dealing with some elbow stuff, and I had hurt my back that spring, so we weren't outside with the team. He and I were in the training room just kind of doing our rehab together with Mr. Tony Reale over here. And he says to me, he says, Vogie, he says, I had a dream last night. And I'm going, oh no. And he says, I had a dream that you pitched Game 3 of the World Series and you threw a shutout. and I was in the bullpen getting ready to close, and you turned around and you told me to sit down. But here again, I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but I think Brian Wilson had a little, psychosis in him or psychic in him, because I ended up throwing Game 3 in 2012 in Detroit and 5 2/3 shutout, and he nailed it. So Brian, I love you, bud. There was many more stories like that about Brian would walk up and say, hey, if I'm gonna close the game today, and you just tell me to sit down if you want to finish it. And I said, all right. Well, that kind of stuff just helped me have confidence and pitch better. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Brian. Congratulations. Dave Righetti, as he said, we were around each other for quite a bit. In 1998 and 99, he was our minor league pitching coordinator, and I was in the minor leagues. And then was lucky enough to come up in 2000 when he was a pitching coach. And Rags and I always had a really, really good relationship. And he was more of a pitching coach to me. He was a mentor to me, and taught me what it took to be a big league baseball player and a big league pitcher. And thank you, Rags. Thanks for everything, buddy. You definitely had a lot to do with everything that I did. All right, I'm almost done. San Francisco Giants fans, you guys know I love you. You know, I've said it multiple times. The things that I did on the mound a lot were because of the way you cheered in the stands. And I can never say thank you enough, so thank you again. Thank you for making me and my family welcome here. We definitely feel like we're home every time we come to this city. And so thank you very much. Keep cheering them on. I know you will. Keep pushing these boys. They're going to do it again. And thanks a lot.